Let's be real, 2025 did not hold back. The year was packed with jaw-dropping new series, unexpected breakout hits, and sequels that kept everyone talking. But when the heavy hitters dominate the spotlight, a bunch of incredible shows end up getting drowned out. And I don't mean pretty decent anime, I'm talking genuinely fantastic series that most people completely slept on. So today, we're dragging those hidden gems out of the shadows and putting them where they belong. If you missed these, don't stress, I'm here to fix your watch list. Let's jump in. At number 10, from Old Country Bumkin to Master Swordsman. What makes this series hit is how refreshingly adult it feels compared to the usual wave of teenage prodigies. Beryl isn't a gifted child or a reincarnated hero. He's a worn-down fencing master in his late 30s, carrying years of doubt on his shoulders. The anime leans into his exhaustion, his frustration, and his quiet desire to prove to himself that he hasn't wasted his life. The swordplay animations reflect that maturity, deliberate, weighty, and deeply grounded in technique instead of flashy effects. It becomes a character study about talent trapped in a man who's forgotten his worth. Watching Beryl claw back confidence piece by piece is unexpectedly inspiring. If you're tired of isekai kids leveling up in 10 minutes, Bumkin feels like a breath of real human air.
それ絶対本人の前で言うなよ。機嫌悪くなるから。
小鳥。
高尾先生。
At number 9, Dr. Detective. Ameku is brilliant, unpredictable, and absolutely insufferable in the funniest way possible. The kind of doctor who solves impossible medical mysteries one minute and bulldozes her way into police investigations the next. Every episode unfolds like a brainy puzzle, relying on sharp logic rather than cheap twists. What sets the series apart is how grounded it stays. The conditions, procedures, and deductions feel like they were written with actual medical research in mind. And through all of Ameku's unpredictability, you can't help but admire the heart driving her. It's clever, tight, and genuinely addictive. The type of show where, once you're in, you'll binge the entire season without realizing it. Easily one of 2025's most underrated surprises. At number 8, Sword of the Demon Hunter. This series blends dark fantasy, historical tragedy, and supernatural drama into something far more emotional than it first appears. Jinta's curse turns immortality into a punishment, forced to walk through eras alone, carrying grief that time can't heal. His pursuit of the childhood friend who betrayed him becomes a haunting backbone for the story, but the journey is filled with quiet, reflective moments that give the world real texture. The tension between his humanity and demonhood creates a protagonist you feel for deeply. Samurai-inspired action scenes break the stillness with violent intensity, but the show always returns to its atmosphere of melancholy wandering. It's gripping, painful, and beautifully restrained. If you love emotional supernatural tales with weight and mood, this is one of 2025's best hidden gems.
工藤さんの知ってるクジライ玲子ではないんでしょう。
知らないのはお前の方だろ。
At number 7, Kowloon Generic Romance. Imagine a retro-futuristic Kowloon city overflowing with neon signs, cigarette smoke, and an atmosphere so thick you can almost feel the humidity. This anime thrives on quiet tension, stolen glances, half-finished conversations, and mysteries that slowly unspool instead of exploding in your face. It blends sci-fi, romance, and noir in a way that feels old-school yet strangely timeless. The art direction is intentionally grimy and nostalgic, mirroring the characters' fractured memories and identities. It's slow, yes, but slow in the way a good novel is slow, letting you sink into its world until the atmosphere sticks to you. If you're a fan of emotional ambiguity, visual storytelling, and stories that linger in your head long after you finish them, this one is unforgettable. At number 6, Witch Watch. Witch Watch is pure chaotic energy bottled into 24 minutes at a time. The premise is simple. A young witch moves in with her childhood friend bodyguard, but what follows is a non-stop parade of magical disasters, misunderstandings, and comedic setups that escalate way too quickly. The humor feels like a mix of Psyche K's absurd reactions and Komi Can't Communicate's sweet awkwardness, all topped with spells that always make things worse. But beneath the chaos, the show has a big heart. The characters support each other, grow together, and occasionally hit you with emotional sincerity that lands harder because of the comedy surrounding it. It's expressive, colorful, and endlessly fun. The kind of anime that makes you smile even on a bad day. Criminally overlooked.
全部自分でやる。その方が結果的に早いから。
夏子、どうした？
At number 5, Zenshu. Yes, it's isekai, but Zenshu remembers what made the genre fun before it became a factory of overpowered teenagers. It brings back charm, adventure, and genuine humor without relying on meta jokes or parody. The protagonist isn't some unstoppable juggernaut. She's capable but constantly learning, which makes victories feel earned rather than automatic. The world has personality, the quests have stakes without being grim, and the comedy is playful instead of cringy. What makes it shine is the balance. Fast pacing, character-driven moments, and tropes executed with actual care. It's familiar in the best way, like returning to an old JRPG you loved as a kid. If you want an isekai that's fun, light, and surprisingly well-crafted, Zenshu is the one that slipped under too many radars.
우리 거리 두자. 난 언젠가 우주로 날아가 버릴 거니까.
At number 4, Lost in Starlight. Lost in Starlight is the definition of soft, emotional sci-fi, a story more interested in connection than explosions. Nan Young's dream of reaching Mars to uncover her mother's fate gives the series a strong sci-fi backbone, but the beating heart is her bond with Jay. Their relationship grows through music, shared longing, and the turntable left behind by Nan Young's mother, giving the show a warm, nostalgic pulse. The visuals are serene, full of soft colors and lonely space imagery that reinforce its themes of distance and searching. It's romantic without being cheesy, emotional without being melodramatic. The farther the story goes, the more it becomes about holding on to the people who shape us, even when they're gone. A quiet masterpiece that far too many people skipped. At number 3, Secrets of the Silent Witch. This is fantasy comfort food at its finest. Monica Everett is supposed to be a legendary mage, a terrifyingly powerful witch whose name alone makes criminals tremble. In reality, she can barely function around other people and breaks into a cold sweat when someone talks to her unexpectedly. The duality is what makes the show so endearing. Watching her quietly obliterate threats while panicking internally is equal parts hilarious and heart-melting. The supporting cast is warm, the world building has a cozy fairy tale vibe, and the emotional arcs hit gently but sincerely. It's a story about courage in small doses. Not grand heroism, but simply pushing past fear one step at a time. For anyone who loves wholesome fantasy with emotional softness, this is a must-watch gem.
アベル、もう話は終わりましたね。では、そいつを殺します。
At number 2, The Water Magician. On paper, it sounds like every fantasy ever. Guy gets water magic, adventures follow. But the water magician stands out in the details. The magic system treats water not just as a weapon, but as a versatile tool. Shields, traps, mobility, engineering, even emotional symbolism. The fights become creative problem-solving rather than simple power-ups, and that alone gives the series its charm. Rio and Abel's partnership grows naturally, with small moments of trust and banter that make their journey feel lived in. The world isn't trying to be the next massive epic. It's textured, calm, and focused on discovery. This is a show that values thoughtful pacing and clever writing over spectacle. For fans of grounded fantasy adventures, it's one of the year's quietest but strongest surprises.
貴様がハイデンの王だな。
魔獣をクレバです。
答えよ。なぜ我が死を望んだ。
At number 1, Clevatess. If you're craving dark fantasy that actually means something, Clevatess is one of the most overlooked gems of the year. Instead of glorifying violence or painting heroes as untouchable, it dives headfirst into trauma, loss, and the messy ways people try to survive their own minds. The pacing swings from raw brutality to small, tender moments that remind you these characters are still human beneath all the damage. The world building is dense but never overwhelming, with cultures, myths, and politics that feel lived in. The protagonist, constantly on the edge of breaking, gives the story emotional weight that hits harder than expected. It's grim, daring, and uncomfortably honest. If you like morally gray worlds in the vein of Berserk, stories that hurt but still offer warmth, Clevatess deserved way more love. And there you have it, our list of the top 10 underrated anime of 2025. Did any of these titles catch your eye? Or maybe you've already discovered a few of them yourself. Let us know in the comments which ones you'll be adding to your watch list, and if you think we missed any hidden gems, share your recommendations below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more awesome anime content. Thanks for watching, and happy binge watching.